I'm going to preview the Baylor versus Long Island football game on Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. And I'm not going to go into totally in depth on this. Let's just say Long Island's 0-2. I know they are 0-2, but they lost to Bryant. They also lost to Ohio as well, 27-10 here. And they gave up over 200 yards rushing to Ohio last game. So, the average offensive line weight for Long Island is 294.4 pounds if you include one guy that plays both the offensive line and defensive line. But the defensive line average weight is like 273 pounds. 14 guys if you include one guy who plays on the offensive line as well. And I'm going to put the stats in the description below, and it's based on last year's stats, by the way. And they're going to have two quarterbacks. I don't know which one they're going to use, but the one they had last year is Luca Stanzani, number 11. 5'11" 185-pound quarterback that's a sophomore. 87 completions out of 448 attempts for 1,219 yards with 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. 47 rushing attempts for 194 yards with 2 touchdowns. They do have a guy with over 500 rushing yards from a year ago, and Pat Bowman, number 3, 5'9", 190-pound running back that's a junior, 139 rushing attempts for 597 yards with 5 touchdowns, and 16 receptions for 124 yards. Michael Love, number 5, 5'9", 175-pound wide receiver that's a senior, 51 receptions for 702 yards with 3 touchdowns and 6 rushing attempts for 93 yards. They do have Davon Wells, number 2, 5'10", 175-pound wide receiver that's a senior, 38 receptions for 636 yards with 4 touchdowns and 11 rushing attempts for 55 yards. Owen Glasgow, number 0, 6'4", 258-pound tight end that's a senior, 62 receptions for 610 yards with 5 touchdowns and 8 rushing attempts for 34 yards with 3 touchdowns. So, as you can tell, they got 3 guys over 600 yards receiving, so the pass defense needs to step up. And that's pretty much the guys you need to know. Offensively, now the defense, Larry Elder comes back, number 7, 6 foot, 200-pound defensive back that's a junior. 71 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 4 pass breakups, 1 quarterback hurry, and 1 safety. Matthew Neves, number 44, 6'2", 220-pound linebacker that's a junior, 65 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 3 pass breakups, 2 quarterback hurries, and 1 fumble recovery. Corey Lumpkins, number 32, 6', 215-pound linebacker that's a junior, 54 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 0.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hurries, and 1 fumble recovery. Eric O'Neal, number 99, 6'3", 250-pound defensive end that's a sophomore, 51 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 1 pass breakup, 9 quarterback hurries, and 2 forced fumbles. Rudy Silvera, Silvera, Silvera. I apologize if I butchered that name. Number 5, 6'1", 200-pound defensive back that's a junior, 41 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble. Caleb Nardi, number 24, 5'10", 170-pound cornerback that's a sophomore, 30 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, 1 interception, 2 pass breakups, 3 quarterback hurries, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 forced fumbles. Jaden Dawkins, number 6, 6 foot, 220-pound outside linebacker that's a junior, 29 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, and 1 pass breakup. Antoine Spencer, number 30, 6'1", 205-pound defensive back that's a senior, 25 tackles and 1 forced fumble. Mike Thompson, number 0, 6'4", 300-pound defensive lineman that's a junior, 21 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 quarterback hurry, 1 fumble recovery. And from there, it's just 3 guys with 18 tackles to loss. And you all can check out the stats in the description below on that. And the special teams wise, they bring back their punter from last year, Will Lynch, number 45, 6'4", 185-pound punter that's a sophomore, 57 punts for 2,239 yards, and 24 of those punts landed inside the 20-yard line, and 9 punts went over 50 yards, and the long was 68 yards, by the way. Now, the kicker comes back, and Michael Coney, number 98, 6'1", 195-pound kicker. That's a junior. 28 for 31 in extra points, 14 for 19 on field goals, which 1 for 1 on 1 to 19 yards, 3 for 4, 20 to 29 yards, 7 for 9 on 30 to 39 yards, 3 for 4 on 40 to 49 yards, and 0 for 1 on more than 50 yards, and the long was 47 yards. That's just some. I know it's not like totally in depth on like what scheme or anything, and I do not know about the injury stats on all these guys. They're on the FCS level, so yeah, I know. And this game had to be taking place because Louisiana Tech backed out of their scheduling contract with Baylor. So I'm just saying that up front before y'all criticize Baylor for playing them, because it is the truth. They backed out. We had to replace them with Albany last year. And here's a few things about this game. Do not overlook them for Texas. I'm just saying that up front because that's kind of what I think what happened with the Texas State game for Utah. And I know you're coming off of an emotional loss to Utah, but you got to get over it. You got to get better. Of course, I'm going to start on the defensive side of the ball. Our corners are going to be tested. Our secondary is going to be tested as a whole. You need to do a good job in the passing, containing the passing game. And that's going to kind of help for prep for the Texas game next week. I get Texas is a lot better, but you get the point. I mean, look at like I said, look at the last year. I mean, the targets they have from last year to coming back statistically. Of course, you want to shut down the run. That's the key thing. Shut down the run, and you have to be really good in passing game and to not commit, of course, across the board penalties. You got to cut those down, especially the offense. Because look, 10 false starts on the offensive line in the first 2 games. And I know they're trying to work on the cadence stuff. And that needs to be addressed. And you have to be better in the red zone offensively. Because committing penalties in the red zone hurts. Because instead of getting touchdowns, you're going to get field goals. Of course, offensively as well. I mean, defensively, I forgot to mention this. Forced turnovers. I mean, that's the truth, and you got to win the turnover battle as well as the time of possession. And do not commit turnovers on offense, unlike the first 2 games, please. And that's kind of what hurt Baylor last week against Utah, if you think about it. And the offense just was the plays were just bland. But this is a game where Baylor should be able to run the ball a lot better than a Utah game. And it's not like the Utah game was terrible, because they did better than that Texas State game. But I'm just telling the truth. And we also need a passing game to open things up as well and be a little bit better from Sawyer. And I know Sawyer rolled his ankle, so that's something to monitor. And hopefully he's all good for the game. If not, we got Archie Martinez. I know he's a walk-on, but you get the point. And the offensive line needs to step up in terms of not pass blocking and all that. And the run game needs to be better up to this point. And it just drives me nuts about those penalties. And like I said, you got to take care of the ball yourself. Of course, you got to exploit their weaknesses, which it seems to be against the run at this point. So hopefully in this game, you got to have a breakout game against Long Island on the ground. And please protect the ball, unlike the first 2 games. And granted, I know the Texas State game didn't score any points on turnovers, but they didn't have to. They were just killing the clock, especially at the very end of the game. While Utah took advantage of it. I mean, they had a short field at the very end of it, and like at the 29-yard line, and then they just got lucky. And of course, do not have 10 guys on the field on defense, unlike the last game, please. And I know that Jay Veranda mentioned this in the press conference, but still, don't have that occur, please. Of course, special teams wise, you got to be solid across the board. Kick the ball to the end zone on kickoffs. Of course, you got to fair catch the ball and catch the ball really, and don't drop it or a block punt, a block field goal, or kick the ball out of bounds, unlike Utah did and like did against us against last game. I'm just being clear about that. You gotta be wide. Let's try to get this game out of reach early on, so you can have your backups come in and in a sense try to get ready for the Texas game and rust them up. I'm serious. Let's go out and take out the frustration from the last two games, or even like the beginning of this year, and take it out on Long Island. It's the truth. And in addition, let's take out the frustration from the last 6 games period. If you take back to last year and not getting a win, let's get a win here. But I will say this: if Baylor loses to Long Island, something has to happen in terms of change. But I do not think that will happen. But then again, who thought we were going to lose to Texas State? So we better not overlook Long Island here, because it would be a really bad look if we do. Of course, you got to make adjustments on the fly as well. And I mean, penalties especially need to be corrected big time. Now, I'm not just talking about false starts either. I'm talking about everything. I'm serious. Like holding and I know personal foul, face mask on the offense. We had 3 penalties on one drive. We got into the red zone last game against Utah, and then we had 3 penalties that really pushed us back to just take a field goal. And instead of being up 7-0, we would have only been up. Then we just settled for a field goal. So we need to be better in terms of the red zone, and we need to be better in terms of like time possession as well, because last game the defense got tired, and winning time possession helps. It does. And this is a game where you need to just go out and take care of business and then focus on Texas the following week and try to get this, like I said, to a blowout if possible. That way you could get your backups in and try to get out of the game as healthy as you can. Because I know we had dealt with some injuries early on, and let's just not have any more, please. Because the last thing you want is more injuries, especially at the quarterback position. Because remember, without Sawyer, we have walk-ons after that. I'm serious. Anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe. See you guys later. Final subscribers. We're on the road to it. Let's go.